Alrighty, Mr. Gatekeeper here. I have had a few requests to make a video showing this dummy load that I built for this bench right here. This is a new bench of mine over here at my girlfriend's house, and I've been needing to get one done for a while so I could do the same work here that I do back at He's house. So, but anyway, I had to make me a dummy load, and I thought that I would go ahead and do a design that I had seen from a local president of a ham club out here around here that he designed, and I really like it. I really like it. Had to do some tweaks to it though, because the design he had was only for about 300 watts. This right here is good for right at around 3,000 or so. It's equipped with 40 2K 5-watt resistors and mineral oil up to the top, pretty much as full as it can get, and it as well has a 3-prong heat sink on the bottom, just to kind of help dissipate the heat. It's just a heat sink made out of pure copper, little thin copper sheets. It's kind of like if you take 2 sheets. Imagine if I had two hands right here, and I just put my second hand in the middle of this hand, so it's 2 sheets, and it looks like 4 separate after you put them in. That's pretty much what's going on the bottom of the heat sink. Just kind of give a little heat sink effect. But anyway, the neat thing about the dummy load is I can read what's coming out of my amplifier going through this bird meter into this dummy load. I can literally read wattage more accurate than a bird. The only measurement of the accuracy is how accurate my voltmeter is. So if I had a fluke voltmeter, this would be more accurate than a bird meter. Okay? And so what a lot of people don't understand is what actually is coming out of the amp, literally out of the amp, is a high voltage RF. Okay, it is a high voltage RF. What is literally coming out of the amp, it's a higher voltage, lower amperage RF that's actually going through here. And I'm going to demonstrate this. And basically what you do is you just use some formulas. I'm going to add the formulas to the video and everything. But you just do a couple of formulas, and then you can read your average power, and then you do another formula, you can read your peak. So, you know, this way you could, you know, I've even thought about some way making a little circuit to where you could have like two meters on the can itself that actually does the calculation for you or whatever. But this dummy load can actually be used to actually tune other meters like a dozy, or you know, other static meters and such. And there have been other dummy loads that's had this capability, like some Heathkits. And by the way, I'd like to announce something very, very, very awesome. Heathkit is back in business. They are backing up, starting to make kits to sell. So that is very, very, very cool, especially to a lot of hams out there that grew up back in the days, you know, building Heathkits, you know. So anyway, I'm going to demonstrate this just with the radio, okay? This right here is my bench radio for here, and it is just a straight out bone stock out of the box, literally out of the box. And all I did was add a dead key variable to it, which y'all can see a video on how I do that. And the only other thing I did was turn the modulation pot up to 100% modulation. So it is doing about 4.5, 5 watts RMS. And so we're going to read a representation of this on the meter that's hooked into the dummy load. All right. We're going to look over here at the bird. This is not a genuine bird. This is an aftermarket meter, but for now it's just being used as reference. Okay, that is right at a 1 watt dead key. Now let's see what it says on the voltmeter. That is 12.9 volts. Okay, 12.9 volts DC. Unkey, key. See, it's going to be the same thing each time. Now watch me audio. Go 48.2 volts. Go. So you see it's right there about 4.5 watts RMS. So that shows you 4.5 watts RMS on this particular bird meter is equaling up to about 49 volts. Okay. Well, I'm seeing what this meter shows me, but at this time, what we would do is go ahead and plug in our calculations and see what it comes out to be and kind of look at it as reference to that. Now, if I was a little bit more prepared for the video, I'd go ahead and do that now. It would make the video more neat, but I just thought about this before I was about to leave, and I know a couple people keep asking me to do this, so I thought it'd be more better just to hurry up and get it done, at least make a video demonstrating it better than nothing. But anyway, so I want to kind of show the difference of playing around with the dead key, okay? So right now the dead key is at 1 watt. Now I'm going to turn the dead key down. Now let me demonstrate this. With my dead key, the type of dead key variable regulated circuit I use, I can turn the dead key down to nothing, as you see right there. Now look. No reading. Now watch me start to slowly go up. I'm going to go back down. Let's go to 5 volts. Yeah, about 5 volts. It's kind of hard to get it right. 5 volts is registering like a tiny, just a tiny measurement. Now, just for the fun of it, I'm just going to raise her all the way up and see what she goes to. .5 volts. Load. Load. See, now watch this. Look on the bird meter. With it all the way up, it's showing a 5 watt dead key. Barely any swing at all. If you look over here on the peak, 4.5 watt dead key. So that shows you it's best to, you can tell it's starving just a tad bit there, since it's not just staying directly on a 4950 volts. So if I turn that dead key down, we set about 2 watts. There's your 48, 49 volts. See, I mean, it is accurate as accurate can be. Really neat, man. Let's turn that back to 1 watt where we had it before. All right. 48 volts. You got to leave it on there for a second, let it even out, just like a regular. And also another thing is this will kind of let you also know if you have a radio that's having some fluctuation issues with the RF, because you're going to be able to see the voltage on here, and you'll see that voltage jumping like just like for right there. If it's 48 volts, you'll see that thing jumping 48, maybe 56 to 60 volts, or down to 30 volts. You'll just see it fluctuating back and forth. Then you'll know there's something's wrong with the radio at that point. So anyway, you would plug in a calculation, and then you will see exactly what you're doing, RMS, average wise, or peak. Pretty neat little thing, all done with inside the dummy load. What it's doing is, what's coming out of here is ACRF high voltage, low amperage high voltage. So we can read that with this meter. We have to convert that over to a DC form, okay? And then once we've converted over to a DC form, the calculations will convert it back to an AC form, RF AC form. Then I want another calculation to read your average or your peak. So pretty neat. A lot of people have no idea that that's what's actually coming out the back of their amplifier is actually high voltage RF. We're used to just looking at the bird meter and thinking that's exactly what's, but we won't get into that this video, okay? I'm not trying to bog anybody's mind with that right there. That'll be for another video. Well, there you go. That's about I'll have to do the math, but it's right around a 3,000 watt dummy load. And I hadn't really made any decisions if I'm gonna start building them or anything yet, but if anybody's needing dummy loads like that, you can just give me a holler. We'll throw something together. I want to play around, playing around with a 10,000 watt dummy load that I've been kind of drawing out, playing around with. It's going to be a more air-cooled heat sink type dummy load. So that's something I've been thinking about, because I do need a 10,000 watt dummy load. Or if anybody has a 10,000 watt dummy load on the cheap, holler at me. All right, 73rd, y'all. The people asking for this video, hope y'all enjoyed. Mr. Gatekeeper out here around the northeast end of Georgia. And my hermit crabs here say bye-bye. Alrighty, Gatekeeper here. I told you I would come back and let you take a look at some of the calculations for the dummy load. Alright, during the video, as you noticed, I had a 1 watt dead key RMS on the bird meter right here. Okay. And it showed me 12.9 volts on the old dummy load. Alright, when I swing, when I audioed, it audioed at 4.5 watts RMS. And on the voltage meter, it went up to 48.2 volts. Alright, we looked over at the dozy and it was showing about 12 watts PEP on the dozy. Alright, with the type of diode that I'm using in this dummy load, it has a maximum of 1.2 volts loss going through the diode. That is a maximum. Okay, we're just talking about maximum numbers here. It probably only has like a 0.8, 0.7, but that is maximum. So we'll go ahead and look at the maximum number. Alright, here's the formula. Okay, what we are reading straight from here on the actual voltmeter is RMS voltage. Okay, first off, before we do anything, we need to add the 1.2 volt maximum. Okay, that's kind of more for maximum reference. Add the 1.2 volts to our 12.9 volts up here. Okay, which was on the dead key. We're just looking at the dead carrier here. So we add that. Okay, this is excuse me, I made an absolute mistake. What we are looking at on the voltmeter is peak voltage, not RMS. Take that back, I'm so sorry. We're looking at peak voltage. Alright, so we add the voltage loss from the diode, and it comes out to 14.1 peak voltage. Okay, now we need to convert that into RMS voltage. The way that we do that is we take the 14.1 peak voltage and divide it by 1.414. That gives us 9.9 volts RMS. Alright, now here's the main equation to convert this to wattage. Here's the main equation. 9.9 volts RMS squared divided by 50 ohms. That is the dummy load itself, 50 ohms. This is also an equation that part of an equation that you would use to read effective radiating power from a radiator, from an RF radiator antenna. Okay, so 9.9 volts RMS root squared divided by 50 ohms equals 1.96 watts. Okay, now we want to throw the efficiency in there, and just as a reference, let's just say that this radio right here is 70% efficient. We'll times that by times that by the 0.70, 70%. We come out to 1.3 watts dead key. Using this formula, straighten the dummy load from a voltmeter. Now look how accurate that is. 1.3 watts dead key. We had exactly 1 watts RMS on that bird meter. Okay, so that shows you, which is a good thing, that meter is actually a little tight. Just a little tight. And I would rather it show less than more. You always would rather a meter to show you less power than what you're really doing than more. So that's pretty neat. Alright, now let's go look at our swing, which is a different, in a way it's a different thing, because see, a lot of people don't understand this. When you're looking at a bird meter, a bird CW average reading meter, what we are looking at is, what the meter is showing us is the absolute highest dead carrier we can have without the transistors being saturated, meaning the highest dead key we can have before that bad boy is swinging backwards. So if your amplifier is swinging about 200 watts on this bird meter, then you should be able to literally turn your dead key to 200 watts in audio and not swing back. But once you turn a dead key over, then you should swing backwards. Now, that is a complete layman's terms of explaining what an average CW, average bird meter is showing us. But that's why I meant to explain it that way. Okay? A peak reading meter is totally opposite. I mean, not opposite, but different. Alright, I just wanted to say that before I get into the equation on the actual swing. Alright, on the swing, it showed me 48.2 volts. Okay? 48.2 volts. We add our 1.2 for the forward voltage drop on the diode. It equals 49.4 volts peak voltage. Divide that by 1.414. It comes out to 39.93 volts RMS. 34.93 volts RMS. Hey, babe. So, 34.93 volts RMS. Square root. I guess you'd call that scroot. Screwed it. 34.93 volts RMS. Scroot. divided by 50 ohms equals 24.40 watts. Go ahead and hit that with the 70%er. 17.08 watts. Now look at this. 17 watts, 12 watts peak. See, that's another good thing. That is showing us that dozy is reading a little bit under. And I already knew that anyway when I saw this, because I knew that meter, that 29 was swinging more than about 12 watts, so that's good. Another thing, this is a brand spanking new meter right out of the box, and as a lot of y'all knew, they do get broken in and show you a little bit more power. That's a lot more power over the years. So that's really neat. And like I explained about the dead key, we won't really go over this formula right here, but basically what this formula does is puts me back to the 4.5 watts RMS up here. And as you see, like I said, I won't go through that formula. It's a crazy formula, but if I plug that formula in off the voltage I was seeing, 5.6 watts RMS, 4.5 is what that bird was showing me. So there you go. Like I said, I hadn't actually started making these for production or anything, but if any of y'all are needing a dummy load like this, you might be interested, give us a holler. I don't think I'll be putting any transformer oil or anything. I'll probably have to let you fill that up yourself, but don't mind at all making them for you. I had to think about the price and everything later. Like I said, I have never sold any yet. This is one that I kind of did an upgrade off a good buddy of mine out here. It's a design that he designed. I just pretty much beefed it up from a 300 to 500 watt dummy load to about a 3,000 watt dummy load. That's 3,000 watts probably for about 20 or 30 seconds. I hadn't put it to the test yet. But, well, there you go. I hope y'all enjoy. I got to get my butt to work over here. We'll see ya.